Eli Carter had always liked the rain. In the small town of Briar's Edge, Oregon, rain was a constant companion. Soft drizzles that whispered against rooftops, steady downpours that blurred the world into gray, and long storms that stretched for days. People here didn't complain about it. They accepted it, the same way they accepted silence, routine, and the quiet weight of living somewhere forgotten. For most people, rain meant comfort. For Eli, it used to mean sleep, until the night it started tapping back. It was just past midnight when Eli first noticed it. He lay in bed, staring at the faint glow of his digital clock, listening to the steady rhythm of rain hitting his window. Tap. 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 It was soft, almost hypnotic. Then it changed, the pattern broke. Tap. Tap tap. Pause. Tap. Eli frowned. Rain didn't hesitate. It didn't think. It didn't wait. Slowly, he turned his head toward the window. The glass was fogged, the outside world smeared into shifting shadows. At first, he saw nothing. Just darkness, rain, and his own faint reflection. Then something moved, not fast. Not enough to startle him outright, just enough to make his stomach tighten. Eli pushed himself up onto his elbows, staring harder now. Hello? He called softly, his voice barely cutting through the sound of the storm. The tapping stopped, instantly. The silence felt wrong, too sudden. Too aware. Then, tap, something touched the glass. Eli's breath caught, a shape pressed slowly against the window from the outside. It looked like a hand, but it wasn't right. The fingers were too long, bending at strange angles, joints shifting in ways that didn't belong to anything human. The skin, if it was skin, looked pale and stretched, almost translucent under the faint light. Eli couldn't move. The hand stayed there, unmoving, waiting, watching. Then the rain grew heavier, pounding against the glass, and the hand slipped away into the darkness. The next morning, Eli almost convinced himself it had been a dream. Almost, until he looked outside. The ground beneath his window was soaked, the mud thick and dark. At first, everything seemed normal. Then he saw them, footprints, long, narrow, deep, each one pressed into the mud with unnatural weight, spaced too far apart, as if whatever made them had legs longer than any humans. They led straight to his window, and stopped. There were no tracks leading away. His parents didn't believe him. Probably a raccoon, his dad said, barely glancing up from his coffee. Or a deer, his mom added, offering a reassuring smile. You know how your imagination gets. Eli didn't argue, but he stopped liking the rain. 3 nights later, the storm came back. Stronger, louder, like it had something to prove. Eli didn't sleep. He sat in the corner of his room, wrapped in a blanket, eyes locked on the window, waiting. The tapping returned, faster this time, more deliberate. Tap tap tap, tap, tap 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 tap. It wasn't random anymore. It was a pattern, a message. Eli shook his head, whispering, "It's just rain. It's just rain." The tapping stopped, and for a moment, there was nothing. Then a voice slipped through the glass, soft, wet, broken. Eli. His entire body went cold. He hadn't told anyone, not a single person. So how did it know his name? He pressed himself deeper into the corner, heart hammering. No. He whispered. The window trembled, not from wind, from pressure, something leaning against it, something listening. Let me in. The voice sounded closer now. Clearer. Almost human, but stretched thin, like it was being pulled through water. Eli squeezed his eyes shut. No, he said again, louder this time. The long, scraping sound cut through the room, nails dragging slowly across the glass, screeching, patient, thinking, learning, then silence. The rain softened, and whatever was outside disappeared. Eli ran to the window despite himself. He wiped away the fog and stared into the yard. Nothing, just darkness and falling rain. Then lightning split the sky. For a single, blinding second, he saw it, standing at the edge of the yard, too tall. Its limbs hung unnaturally, bending like broken branches. Its head tilted slightly, as though it didn't understand the shape it wore. Its face was almost human, almost. But the smile stretched too wide, too deep, too wrong. The darkness returned, and it was gone. Days passed, then weeks, and every time it rained, it came back. closer each time. At first, it stayed at the edge of the yard, then near the fence, then just beyond the window, always watching, always smiling. Eli stopped sleeping entirely, dark circles sank deep beneath his eyes. His teachers noticed. His parents worried, but no one understood, because no one else heard the tapping, no one else heard the voice, until the night the rain came inside. Eli woke to the sound of dripping, soft, slow, wrong. He sat up, his breath catching as he looked around. Water slid down the walls, dark, thick, pooling on the floor. The air smelled off, not fresh like rain, rotten, like something left too long in the dark. The tapping started again. Eli's eyes snapped to the window, but it wasn't there. The sound came again, closer, behind him, from the door. Tap, 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 tap. Eli's chest tightened as he stared at the handle. It moved, slowly. Turning, stopping, turning again. Eli. The voice was clearer now, stronger. Inside the house, tears streamed down his face as he shook his head. No, no, no. The doorknob twisted harder this time. The door creaked, opened just a fraction, and darkness spilled through the gap. Something stood on the other side, breathing, waiting. Eli couldn't run, couldn't scream. All he could do was watch as the door slowly, quietly, opened. What stepped into the room wasn't entirely solid. It flickered, like a reflection in disturbed water. Its limbs stretched and shrank, its shape unstable, shifting between something human and something else entirely. But its face, that horrible, stretched smile, was exactly the same. Found you. Eli squeezed his eyes shut. This wasn't real. It couldn't be real. The room went quiet, too quiet. When Eli finally opened his eyes, he was alone. The water was gone, the door was closed, the rain had stopped. Morning came, bright, clear, silent. Eli sat on his bed, staring at his hands. Everything felt normal, too normal. Downstairs, his parents laughed over breakfast. The TV played softly in the background. Life went on like nothing had happened. Eli walked to the window. The ground outside was dry, no footprints, no mud, no sign of anything. He let out a slow breath. Maybe it was over, maybe it had never been real. Then he noticed something, a faint reflection in the glass. Behind him, Eli froze. Slowly, he turned. Nothing. His room was empty, but when he looked back at the window, the reflection was still there, standing behind him, smiling. Eli didn't move, didn't breathe. The reflection tilted its head, and then, it spoke. Not from outside, not from the door, but from somewhere much closer. Now. You let me in. Eli's reflection smiled wider, far wider than his own face could, and in the silence that followed, Eli realized something far worse than anything that had come before. The creature wasn't outside anymore. It was looking out, from inside him, and somewhere, far away, thunder rolled again, because the rain was starting to fall. Like and subscribe for more creepy stories and suspenseful horror.